Hey everybody, it's Jason with Parallel Reality coming back with you today with an article from the Federalist dated October 10th. It says Democrats are giving up on democracy, and this just comes on the heels of Katie Porter, who is this thing right here on the screen, who is running for governor of California, who is a deeply unlikable human being, but let's see how much it gets into that. It says, doesn't matter how much or how unpopular Democrats' policies are, they are not going to negotiate, they are not going to compromise. And we're not going to cut that little cough out. We'll just keep it in there. It's a low-effort operation we got going on here, folks. It says, tectonic plates are shifting in the American polity. A new dynamic is emerging, and a big part of that new dynamic is a Democratic Party and a political left that is no longer concerned with persuasion or negotiation, no longer willing to chase after popular legitimacy or win over public opinion, but is so convinced in the righteousness and urgency of its cause that it believes it must resort to force. And I'm not just referring to the assassination of Charlie Kirk or the two assassination attempts against President Trump. Yeah, I was about to say under President Trump, but it was not. These are the weaponization of the federal government under Biden, or the ongoing Antifa riots in Portland, or the violent rhetoric embraced by the mainstream Democrats who still support Jay Jones for Attorney General in Virginia, even after he fantasized about killing Republican Todd Gilbert. I don't just mean that left-wing influencers like Hassan Piker and Destiny regularly call for violence against the right, or that media darlings like Ta-Nehisi Coates and Ezra Klein publicly muse about whether it would be better to negotiate with conservatives, lie to them, or force policies on them against their will. And I'm not merely thinking of rogue federal judges like the one who gave Nicholas Roski, who now identifies as a trans woman named Sophie, a light sentence for attempting to assassinate U.S. Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh, or the parade of liberal judges who have tried to shut down the Trump administration's agenda through a deluge of nationwide injunctions and temporary restraining orders, many of which have been overturned by higher courts. That's a lot. It's all of these things, but it's also the recent pattern of behavior by the Democratic Party establishment, which seems totally uninterested in winning anyone over or engaging in democratic politics at all. Consider the government shutdown, now nearly 2 weeks old, probably 3 by the time you are listening to this, if it hasn't been settled yet. Unless you consume some form of increasingly irrelevant corporate news product, where the shutdown is being covered merely as a means of attacking President Trump, you might not even know about it. In an earlier time, before COVID, before mass immigration, before the normalization of political assassinations and violent political rhetoric, a government shutdown would have dominated the news cycle and the broader discourse. This shutdown, by contrast, is practically a non-event. To the extent it is even registering with Americans, they oppose it. Harvard Cap's Harris poll this week found 70% of respondents are against the shutdown, and 65% think Senate Democrats should end it by accepting the spending bill already passed by the House, which simply carries forward Biden-era spending levels. But because the bill in question doesn't include healthcare subsidies for certain classes of illegal immigrants, Democrats have decided to shut down the government. It says they even think that their own position is somehow getting stronger as the shutdown drags on. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer declared on Thursday, each day our case to fix healthcare and end the shutdown gets better and better. Setting aside that no one really believes Democrats have a case, and from what I've seen, it doesn't seem to be the case, much less a plan or even a desire to fix healthcare, it's a strange hill they've chosen to die on politically, and keep in mind that it's not fixing healthcare, it's for illegal immigrants is what they want to do, and Republicans are just like, yeah, we're not doing that. And they've had, I think, at this point, 7 votes to reopen the government, and the Democrats keep turning it down and then go out there and blame it on Republicans. And the Republicans are all voting to reopen the government. It says, as my colleague Brianna Lyman explained last week, the foreign nationals that Democrats want to include in federally subsidized health care are people who, under normal circumstances, would have been detained and deported. As I said, illegal immigrants. So the only reason they're in the U.S. at all is because the Biden administration applied an unprecedented and legally dubious reading to a section of federal immigration law that allows for the parole of certain illegal aliens only on a case-by-case basis. Under Biden, millions of illegal immigrants were paroled under this provision. Not only do Democrats oppose the deportation of these people, they want to give them federal health care subsidies while they live and work in the U.S. for years on end, waiting for the outcome of asylum cases that 90% of them will lose. Democrats, incredibly, decided to shut down the government over these subsidies and then expected ordinary Americans to care. This follows a curious recent pattern of Democrats getting on the wrong side of the American public on major issues. And what is the saying? That they're on the 20 side of every 80-20 issue possible right now? So this is another Harvard Cap's Harris poll released last week, shows a whopping 78% of respondents support deporting illegal immigrants who have committed crimes. As I was saying, 80% of the people want this, and Democrats go no. It says this includes 69% of Democrats and 87% of Republicans. Both those numbers are considered overwhelming. It says criminal illegal aliens are, of course, the very people Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents are out there arresting. They are doing so amid protests and threats and sometimes rioting from Antifa activists whose views on this issue seem to be shared by Democrat office holders or officer holders. I don't know why it says officers, so it should be office holders, and almost no one else. It's actually worse than it seems for Democrats. The same poll found 56% of respondents support the deportation of all illegal immigrants. I would be one of those 56%, criminal or not, including 36% of Democrats and 76% of Republicans. 68%, including a majority of Democrats, support closing the border entirely and enacting policies that deter illegal immigration. 55% support using the U.S. military to stop illegal immigration. A majority support using the National Guard and active duty military to police America's large cities and reduce crime. These popular policies, strict immigration enforcement, closing the border, imposing law and order in crime-ridden cities, are precisely the policies Democrats cite when they accuse President Trump of imposing fascist or authoritarian rule. They don't seem to care that most Americans want these policies and voted for Trump so he would enact them. Instead of trying to persuade Americans that they have a better plan to accomplish the things voters say they want, Democrats are railing against those things. Their argument, to the extent they have one, is that they know better than the American people. They will tell you what you want. That sounds, what's the word for it? Authoritarian of them. This isn't merely abstract or rhetorical. The Democratic mayor of Chicago, Brandon Johnson, who is a moron, signed an executive order Monday establishing ICE-free zones. Too bad he has zero authority to do that, and that law can be completely disregarded. Look up the Supremacy Clause. It says the Democratic governor of Illinois, J.B. Pritzker, is suing the Trump administration over the deployment of the National Guard to enforce federal immigration laws in that state. Gavin Newsom and other leading Democrats are invoking states' rights and dusting off their Confederate talking points. No amount of polling data or actual election results will deter them from resisting broadly popular policies if they conflict with their party's left-wing orthodoxy. The same goes for issues like transgender ideology and medical care or unrestricted abortion on demand. It doesn't matter how unpopular Democrat position is with actual Americans, their ideological priors prevent them from reconsidering or even negotiating with the other side, even when the other side outnumbers them 7-1. This week, Katie Porter, the thing from the picture at the very beginning of this article, a former Democratic congressman who is, or was, the frontrunner in the California governor's race, just shows how far California has fallen if that's really the case, scoffed at a CBS News reporter who asked how she planned to win over Trump voters. The idea that she needed to win those votes, and that a reporter would dare to ask her about it, was ridiculous and offensive to her. When the reporter pushed back, Porter threatened to walk out of the interview. Yeah, go watch that. It's amazing. The reporter just simply says, how do you plan to win over Trump voters? And she's kind of looks at her excuse me? What? I don't need those people. And it was really weird. Democrats, in other words, are giving up on democracy. Maybe they never were interested in it to begin with. In the same way the corporate news media has given up on reporting in favor of propaganda, Democrats have given up on persuasion in favor of coercion. Public opinion, after all, can be a great obstacle to revolution, which is what today's Democrats are after. Back in 2008, when Obama said just days before his victory that he meant to fundamentally transform the United States of America, he might have been forgiven for thinking the people were on his side, that his was a popular revolution. No one would make that mistake now. The people are not on Democrats' side, but the Democrats don't care. If you disagree with the revolution, you'd better watch out. They are done talking. Yeah, I do agree with a lot of this, that they are giving up on democracy. They're just kind of like, we want to impose these rules, these laws, and if you don't agree with us, well, we're still going to try to do them, and we're going to hold up the government so that this happens. Don't really have much else to say about it, as I'm thinking, but let me know what you think about this in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.